You join me at Milan Park, which is a beautiful facility and has baseball fields and a track and a swimming pool and a fairground and much, much more. And I just drove my son over here for track practice, and on the drive I had absolutely no errors. It was really nice.
10 minutes later.
Hey, that's great news. Sitting here at the track practice, hoping my son will come out, and am I going to be able to get him home? Who knows? So every drive with the Ocean is different. Today, it was really nice. And sometimes it's hard to step back and appreciate my vehicle, and I know a lot of you said that I'm a bitter Betty. That was a good one. Or maybe I'm complaining about the car too much, but at the end of the day, I ordered something that I should be comfortable driving and taking anywhere, and I'm not. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Why are we so scared about Fisker bankruptcy? Number one, it's not finished. They're working hard to get 4.0 finished, and that's great. But we should also know that with every software update comes new bugs, as well as the fixing of the old ones. Also, software as a service, I believe, is the end goal here with Fisker. If they weren't looking for software as a service, I would think they would have already explored trying to figure out some kind of Chapter 11 immediately. But I think they're trying to get to this software as a service, as it may be their only asset. They're waiting to sell because right now they have nothing to sell. But if they get to software as a service in 4.0, then another company can take over, and for the profit from the software as a service, could agree to maintain the vehicles. And that's why they're trying to get rid of these ultras and extremes as quickly as possible, because Fisker Ocean One owners aren't going to get software as a service charges. The Ocean One's connectivity is free for the next 10 years. My theory is, and it's just a theory, that Fisker hasn't gone to the bankruptcy option yet because they're trying to make more money off of the software, which is hilarious because it's the most incomplete part of the car, at least for now. And finally, on the hilarious note, here's that 4.0 schedule, and it's mid-April, so a little bit behind. And that's software. What about parts? They didn't set up a service network. My last video mentioned that the Ocean is just a grocery getter for me, and that's because of my concern about the availability of parts. Yes, you can drive your Ocean everywhere. It'll work and it'll charge and all the things. But what happens when you get an oopsie in Tulsa and you live in Dallas? Where do you have it towed to? Who's going to work on it? And even if you find someone, because eventually you will, that will work on it, where do they get those parts from? Part of having a service network is having parts available locally. Now, you can ship them from all over the world, from Austria to anywhere that somebody has an Ocean. But that gets really expensive because it increases the cost of the parts, which increases the cost of the ownership of the car, which increases the insurance rates for the car, which increases your personal insurance rates because when you made a claim, it was astronomically high. And that affects everyone overall because insurance is based on what everyone does, or at least it used to be. You need local storage to have local parts, and Fisker did none of that. Imagine they had one East Coast service center, but that presents another problem. What if everyone on the East Coast was coming to the same place? That means people would have learned things like the software is the problem and it's completely incomplete, and people would have said things about that and then maybe, I don't know, not wanted to buy the car anymore. So they kept everything a secret. We're going to mail the mud flaps to your house because you're the only one having this mud flap problem. And the vents. Everybody said at the beginning the vents was a localized issue and it was only a few owners. No, it was not. It was almost every Ocean One owner and then some. But we couldn't argue because we didn't know that every single person was having their vents go bad. And it took people a while to figure out that they were broken. And all this uncertainty is because Fisker wouldn't rent a couple warehouses. But once again, we would have found out that the door motor was a mousetrap and other things. So in conclusion, with the service network, yeah, feel free to drive your car around. But I'm going to play it safe, mostly because of this guy. If you know, you know. This Inside EV article confirms that Fisker is going to have to pay for warranty work. But where do you get that done? The dealer contract states that dealerships can share service and front and back of house operation, and that the service training will be for a limited time, which I think we all know the time is limited. That's that same document that shows the April release of 4.0. No cost sales and service training programs for early dealer partners for a period of time. Okay, so what's warranty work? A commenter on my last video mentioned that if the 12-volt battery dies, then the entire car needs to be recalibrated. Is that warranty work? The Fisker King mentioned that there was a small warranty for the Karma, but he kind of put an emphasis on small, and What did that cover? But it does raise a good question. When Fisker no longer exists, what happens to the warranty money and who gets it? Finally, we have to get into right to repair, something us as consumers basically don't have. Your Apple products, your John Deere, and your Tesla have intellectual property that these companies refuse to share with the world, including most repair shops. I say most because some people do have the technical training and there are some right to repair laws in some places. But overall, this right to repair, intellectual property concern, problem, whatever you want to call it, has caused repair shops to basically become non-functional. And the skills, as well as the skilled labor that goes along with it, has become more and more a thing of the past, except inside that walled garden of intellectual property at the companies. So the independent repair shop has become harder and more expensive and more difficult to run as time has passed. It's also convinced us to be a throwaway culture. And we could talk about capitalism or legislation here, but that's kind of outside of the scope of this channel. But we can talk about sustainability. All Fisker has to do is release the IP, the technical manual, the manufacturer's names for all the parts, the source code for all the software, and we would be much better off. But since Fisker has no other property, and the software as a service isn't deployed yet, the IP is all they got. And of course, they're going to try to hang on to it. So when it comes to sustainability, what does that make Fisker? The truth is they're still a company right now and we don't know for sure. But what it doesn't make Fisker is the world's most sustainable automobile. And a whole bunch of 2-ton bricks can fill up a lot of landfills. So Henrik, if you're listening, and I know you're not, you're too busy selling your house and hiding from the media, just release the IP, declare Chapter 7, run away with the cash from the fire sale, and get out of the automotive business. Hang on to your pad and pencil, that's fine, but we'll handle the rest. And remember, at the beginning of this video, I told you about my very pleasant drive over here. It was very pleasant. Am I going to be able to get him home? Who knows? So, from the top of a beautiful mountain in West Virginia, thanks for watching. Become a patron or a YouTube member and get early access to videos. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey! Smash the like button!
Thank you.